Tempeh is like the worst thing.
Oh, you don't like tempeh? I see.
I cannot.
Yeah, like most people don't like it off the first, like right off the bat.
Unlike tempeh, which should just be consistently binned throughout your life. I swear there is nothing on God's earth that would ever persuade me to try tempeh. It's today. It's happening. I held out for as long as I could. But now on the Vegan Life podcast, yes, we're doing tempeh. Harry, James and Connor from Club Cultured, you all went to school together, which is extraordinary. I can't imagine talking to anyone I went to school. And you started off trying to make tempeh in James's mum's airing cupboard. This feels like a Beano comic strip, to be honest with you.
Beano,
like a vegan, exactly. You then upgraded to an old fridge from Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah,
we got for free.
We managed to squeeze that in my VW Polo, and Dobson was like at the front like that, and we had this double bridge to fridge.
Okay.
Riding shotgun.
But rather than using it as a fridge, you use it as a fermentation chamber. So I'm guessing, were you keeping it warm in there?
Yeah, we put, our friend John put a halogen light bulb at the bottom, and we had like a brewing thermostat, and it would just go up to 30 degrees. So we learnt this in the book of Tempeh. I think it shows you how to make some at-home fermenters. Wow. And you then upgraded to an outhouse.
Yeah.
You're inspiring a lot of confidence. What I'm going to say is, why not just flush it and cut out the middleman? Historically, you should know. I have a very bad attitude to tempeh. So this is an amazing moment that you're here on this podcast. It's a running kind of not even funny gag. And so when I saw that you guys were coming up, and well, I think the measure of a person is how receptive they are to change. And I'm ready for change. I can embrace this. I can totally do this. I can step outside my comfort zone.
You got this.
It doesn't.
I reckon we'd have to.
Yeah.
Do a part 2 follow-up of Connor cooking for Jake.
So I'm down. I'm down with that. Anyone who wants to cook for me is fine. Well, anyway, so I guess you've very much upgraded everything. Just to reassure people, you've gone from Facebook fridges and outhouses to now, I'm guessing, some sort of pretty posh premises.
Yeah.
So we're currently in Park Royal, which is northwest London.
Okay.
So we have a 1,200 square foot sort of factory now, and
wow,
we make 1.5 tons a week currently.
Crikey.
So slight upgrade from my mum's airing cupboard.
What is it that got you guys excited about tempeh? Like what is it about tempeh that for you makes it so amazing?
Yeah, so for me and James, when we said back to school, me and James are the same year. Connor's a couple of years below us, but we've all known each other for like many years now. So me and James, believe it or not, we used to work in finance, quit our jobs, ended up going vegan, living in Australia, and then after Australia we went to Indonesia, and obviously that is the home of tempeh, and we just like our first little street food hut we stopped at the first day we got there. We're just sort of like trying to order as vegan as possible as you can. Saw this weird beanie looking thing, tried it, loved it, did a bit of research, and we're like, okay, cool, it's quite interesting. That sort of planted the seed. And then when we came back to England, it wasn't like, I've got a dream to start a tempeh factory straight away. We was working like another idea, and we had a date with the magical Mycelium, and they inspired us, said to start making tempeh, and that was the beginning for us. And then we managed to rope Connor in to our conspiracy, and obviously the chef in Connor was great. For him to be able to work with it and be like, wow, this is like a really high quality level ingredient that you can do so much to.
Now, I'm guessing that there are, just like with soy milk or tofu or anything, there's tempeh and there's tempeh, right? What makes your tempeh, I'm being devil's advocate here, so special?
Yeah. So that's one of the things. Like when we got back from Bali and we tried the other brands that were available at the time, it just tasted nothing like what we had in Bali.
Right.
So that was also another reason that we could, do this and do it better.
Yeah.
And make it taste the way that we tasted it in Bali. So yeah, that was one of the big reasons, because a lot of other competitors are pasteurized their tempeh, whereas we use traditional methods that we were taught in Indonesia. We just do it on a slightly bigger scale now, but the fundamentals of the process is exactly how they make it in Indonesia. We don't pasteurize it, and we supply fresh tempeh as well.
For us as well, we get to, because obviously we make it ourselves, we get to control the whole process, and we have a happy staff and putting lots of love and energy into the product that we make, and I think that definitely, you taste that at the end. And we source like European ingredients, so we're not contributing to deforestation in the Amazon. We'd love it to be in Britain, but that's the end goal. So I think, we were able to put a lot of love into it, and we don't grind our beans as fine as as other people do, so it's a bit more crumblier texture. A lot of people always say, yours is like a lot more meatier than what I've had before.
Right.
Yeah, we grind the beans fresh and then soak them pretty much instantly from grinding.
Right.
Also, we have Elke who works with us, and he does tempeh yoga.
He does what now?
Tempeh yoga, so he'll like massage the beans and doing like yoga positions with his legs. It's quite a sight.
Wow. So it's the equivalent of, is it Kobe beef?
Exactly.
That's it. We massage the beans.
Yeah, look at the marbling through it. Well, it's good to know. It's good to know they've had a good life. Those beans.
Yeah, exactly. We play music in the fermenter sometimes as well. Sure. So it's got 5-star treatment. It's like a spa for the beans. It gets soaked, it gets washed, it gets massaged.
I would happily sign up, not for the tempeh, but more for the treatment. It sounds great.
Bit of Hare Krishna.
All right, let's get the measure of your palate. A question that we always ask on this podcast is, what's the best thing you've eaten recently? Just because we're curious. So let's start with you, Connor.
Is this obviously tempeh based? The best thing I've eaten recently.
It doesn't have to be tempeh based.
I knocked up a braised cabbage ball stuffed with tempeh last night, and I made like a homemade gravy and a little medley of veg, and I'd say that was definitely up there, one of the best things I've eaten recently for sure. Considering it was about 16 hours ago.
How do you braise your cabbage?
And I braise my cabbage. Yeah. So I blanched my inner leaves so they're a little bit thinner than the outer darker leaves. Take out my stem, I blanch them, then stuff them, and then braise them back in the oven with some homemade sauce. Nice. It was absolutely delicious.
That sounds really good.
Looking forward to trying that, Connor.
Was indeed.
Harry, what about you?
I haven't eaten out many places recently, but I also was making some reels yesterday. Had a real good time. I made some tempeh curry udon noodles, and I do love a noodle. I love curry. I love tempeh, so it's like my trifecta of taste bud party in my mouth.
Yeah, I got a lot of time. I don't eat enough noodles.
Yeah, I don't think we all do. I think we can always eat more.
And James, what about you?
So I think mine would be, we was at a supper club actually on Saturday with our good friend Elke. He does the old tempeh yoga, and he did cactus, which actually Connor seasoned, and that was, I've never tried cactus before, and it was really, really tasty.
It was actually really good. It was very meaty for a veg, wasn't it?
Cooked, and it was, I think it's one to watch for the future, a bit of cactus.
Interesting. Yeah, we've talked about cactus in the podcast before in our South American episode. Yeah,
nice.
Was always take the spiky bits off first. That was the
cactus fruits.
Lots of people have got in touch. A very hotly anticipated episode. This Angelina says, "I love tempeh, so I'm excited about this episode. I feel for Angelina because she's presumably she's been biting her tongue for the last 35 episodes because it's just me ranting on about how much I don't like tempeh. But finally, someone is speaking for her. So that's good." She says, "I can't wait to hear how Jake will be." I'm fine. I'm very comfortable. I hope the panel can finally convert him. My question is, what is the best way to cook tempeh? Now, I'm guessing you're going to say there's 1,000 ways to cook tempeh, but
I wouldn't say there's 1,000 ways, but there's definitely a good few.
Okay, well, Connor, give us a couple of sort of solid go-tos.
Depends what kind of cook you are, I suppose. I mean, as an ingredient, like Harry mentioned earlier, it's an extremely versatile one for sure. I would say it's probably the most versatile, or one of the most versatile ingredients that not even necessarily vegans, but the world can actually cook with. I.e., it can be used in many different ways. Like if you blitz it, you've got mincemeat. You cube it up, and you've just got like big chunks of almost beef that you can colour, braise, make stews, make pies. You could do little tempeh, like fish goujons. So you can fry it, you can bake it, you can saute it. It's also a really great binder, tempeh, as well.
Oh, really?
It's a really good binder to make burgers with as well. Like, if you was to mix it with another mix, some people might say, you add a bit of flour to bind it, but you could literally blend some tempeh up, and it's quite pliable to work with.
That's a top tip. That's great. We've lost you, Connor.
We've lost.
Yeah, it's fine. Harry, what's your go-to way of cooking?
Oh, well, on a Saturday morning, it's a fried tempeh sandwich with some avocado, nice bit of bread, ketchup, mustard. That is, Saturday. It literally does taste like bacon. You don't need the marinade sometimes. You get like the hit from like a bit crispy, and that's just that. It's a foolproof winner that everyone's going to enjoy. That, even you, Jake, I reckon.
Yeah, it's the one.
Yeah. It sort of feels like I don't know. I feel like I'm sort of in the changing rooms of a football team. Like that's sort of where I am in terms of comfort. It's like you guys are like, yeah, you ready for the match? And like you're all taking your clothes off, and I'm like, yeah, I'll be out in a second. Like I want to play. I do. I just not comfort. James, what's your go-to with tempeh?
My go-to. It's similar to how they have it in Indonesia, really. So whenever you make a batch of tempeh, this is the way you do the taste test, but it's also my favourite way, the quickest way and the easiest way to do it. So you just shallow fry the tempeh, get your oil really hot, because the tempeh will absorb anything pretty quickly. So really hot oil, get it to its golden, slightly darkening as well. Flip it over and do the same on the other side. Take it off, have like some kitchen roll, tap it, season it, a bit of salt, and then it's ready for any dip. It doesn't really even need a dip, but that's where you can really taste the sort of light, nutty, umami flavour from the tempeh. Nice. So that's kind of my go-to. Quick. I'm a quick and easy kind of guy. That's one that tickles my pickle.
Well, I'm sure it's nice with pickle stew. There you go, Angelina. Some suggestions for you there. Steph has a really great left field question, which is, can you use tempeh in desserts?
Yeah.
Yep.
You
You can.
Yeah.
Go on, tell us what you've done.
Our friend Amy, she's Eat by Amy, her business, and she sells cookies. She did a market stall with a peanut butter cookie, I think, with tempeh bacon bits on top, which sold out and was very popular. And we've had similar biscuits and cookies back from Indonesia as well.
Didn't Seapress put it in smoothies?
Yeah, I've tried it in a smoothie. In Indonesia, they also use it in ice creams. And, we've seen it like dipped in chocolate and coated in chocolate sauce, which would be quite interesting to try.
Chocolate dipped anything, it's got to be good, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And also you can make tempeh with like peanuts. We haven't tried peanut tempeh before, but it's meant to be delicious. So I can imagine you could probably make some nice desserts with a peanut tempeh.
That's a great idea. Why haven't you done that? Go get a fridge off Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
Start again.
We'd love to. It's just the old allergens. Nuts are a bit of a no-go.
You can't, cause go and get a fridge off Facebook Marketplace. Everyone's doing it.
Well, we're moving back into the garden. You'll love it.
Connor, have you dabbled with sweet tempeh business?
I did make some biscuits a good probably ago using tempeh flour, which you can take tempeh and put it in your oven at like 50, 60 degrees and cook it and like dry it completely out. And if you blend it, like a flour will appear, so you can use it in cakes and recipes. Exactly what Harry said. They use that traditional method in Indonesia as well.
Wow.
They'll just keep fermenting and drying it out, and then you can get some tempeh flour. I think it's very common as well in Indonesia. as much as they told us. We didn't actually try any tempeh desserts ourselves, but they did say it's commonly used out there for sure.
I got a question, which is how long is the process of fermentation for your tempeh? Like, how long does it actually take from once you boil it up, presumably, or soak it?
There's kind of two fermentation. The first one is the soak, so it's more of like a lacto ferment. So we soak the beans for 24 hours. So that's kind of the first one, and that will then create the best environment for the starter culture to thrive. And then the second one, which is in a heated room. So in that room, we're basically trying
to... Fridge is fine.
Or fridge.
Yeah.
Just an enclosed space. Yeah. Enclosed space with some heat. You're ready to make some tempeh.
You basically want to recreate the conditions of Indonesia. So 30 degrees heat, 8% humidity. And then 48 hours later, you get a bag of beans formed into a white block of tempeh.
Amazing. That's
it's pretty
fast.
Magic, really.
Yeah,
it is magic compared to other, ferments. It's quite quick.
Yeah,
it's amazing stuff. It still amazes me every day.
Yeah, I can imagine that. From the forays I've had into fermentation, I do find it a magical process.
Yeah.
Rob says Tempeh Bacon's the most popular recipe. Could the experts let me know their way of making Tempeh Bacon?
Tempeh Bacon is definitely one of the most common recipes on the internet for sure. And I think our way is just by doing soy sauce, cumin, a little bit of paprika, and maple syrup, and definitely marinate it overnight. But we would like in the future to be able to ferment a whole block of tempeh as bacon, where consumers can cut, slice, pan fry, and you will get like a resemblance of bacon.
Because presumably if you do that first soak, unless it's going to interfere with the fermentation, you could actually start to infuse flavour into the beans with that first
for sure,
soak,
yeah. Yeah, for sure. Different seasonings and powders. Yeah. You just got to be wary of messing with the pH. Because the pH is obviously very important when it comes to tempeh and fermentation. So that's probably the tricky element of nailing research like that and development.
Renata says, my partner doesn't like tempeh. Oh, Renata!
Is that your partner?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. How can I convert him with a delicious tempeh recipe?
Again, it depends on the type of cook you are, I suppose. If you're like the homely cook, everyone loves a Spag Bowl, and tempeh is amazing for a vegan mince or a mince replacement is for tempeh. So you blend it up as you would tempeh, and tempeh works really well with mushrooms. Unfortunately, if you don't like mushrooms, leave them out. But tempeh works really well with mushrooms.
Gotcha.
I think as well,
friends.
Curries and stews, it's like, everyone loves a curry, everyone loves a stew. And once you brown it off, get nice and crisp, and then cook it back in your sauce, it'll suck all that flavour up. So I'm lucky enough, we've got a really good Indian takeaway at the end of my road, and we go in there with a block of tempeh. I'm like, can you make me a tempeh dansak? And then they do it, and it's amazing.
Seriously, you just walk in and press a pack into their hands, and they do it for you. That's very cool.
Yeah. We've lucky enough, been going there for years, so they know us. But they're pretty happy to do that, and it's actually works so well in a curry and stuff. So
they cook it really well.
That's an interesting idea. I've always wondered, because there was a period with Pizza Express where you could take in, if you had an unopened packet of vegan cheese, they'd put it on your pizza for you.
Really?
They still charge you the full price of the pizza, which is kind of annoying.
Like a cheat code.
Yeah, exactly.
Vegan cheat code.
Yeah. It was X circle, left, right. No.
Turn up in a tank as well.
Yeah. But that sort of thing of taking ingredients to restaurants and asking them to cook it for you, it's a really interesting idea. I haven't done that for a while.
And now they've come a long way. Now they've got a vegan pop-up.
They have, haven't they? Yeah, Pizza Express. Yeah, and I think you can now, they veganised their whole menu.
Their pizzas are good, to be fair.
They really are. In fact, I don't live so very far away from the guy who supplied all the mozzarella to Pizza Express.
Really?
And it is a nice house, man. It is a nice house.
I can imagine. Must be a
but
lot of
every time I walk past, I say, that house was made of misery.
Exactly.
So he has to live with that.
Let's go TP his house.
James, what for you is like a kind of proper wow tempeh recipe?
Dish. So it would be, Connor is the best cook that I've ever seen. Oh,
thanks, mate.
That's nice.
Eat his food. So it would be definitely one of Connor's dishes. For me, when Connor made a banh mi, we did a banh mi back in the days when we were doing street food. And he made this really aromatic marinade that he'd marinade. Connor, I'll let you give him the spiel on what
Nah, you go. Make my head bigger. Do it.
The banh mi, this is like a Vietnamese classic sandwich, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is doing a disservice to describe. It's an amazing meal served in bread, is what it is.
Yeah. Pretty much. But yeah, in the marinade, it was like caramelized onion in there. I think there were spring onions, loads of, was there cardamom in there, star anise, and soy sauce and loads of other good stuff.
Garlic, ginger,
herbs,
loads of fresh herbs.
Wow.
Oh yeah, the herbs. Was there a bit of a bouquet garnet in there?
That sounds really good.
Yeah, we did that an Action Against Hunger event in collaboration with Twisted, and we was the only vegan business there, and all the other businesses were like, 3 Michelin star chefs, top of the range chefs, and we had John Tanaka, I think he's like a 3 Michelin star chef. He ate one, really enjoyed it, and we was one of the busiest there the whole night.
That's so satisfying when that happens. When you win over the non-vegans. Tilly Non-Carne.
That's amazing.
That's
great. That's a great name.
Used to love tempeh and made vegan carbonara with it, but she says I've somehow developed an allergy. I'm not allergic to soya, so I must be allergic to the fungus in the fermentation process. Mushrooms also make me ill. Okay. Yeah. I'd be interested to know if you've come across this before. One.
We've come across that recently at Elke's Mexican cacti evening. There was a lady who said she was allergic to mycelium, and I have to be honest, that's not an allergen that I've ever come across before. It's something that's definitely not taught in the hospitality world. Is a mushroom mycelium allergy. It's not even like heard of for me.
Yeah.
I also found out that Hare Krishnas don't eat. Well, some of them may do, but the more stricter ones don't eat fungus as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, it's a funny thing, isn't it? Because like mushrooms, they are closer to the animal kingdom than the vegetable. Which is like
all life comes from mushrooms originally, I think.
The originals, weren't they? On this original life force.
Cosmic space dust.
No, that's all freaky and weird. They are a bit freaky and weird, let's be honest.
Have you seen Fantastic Fungi, Jake?
No.
Oh, it's on Netflix. It's a great watch.
No, I don't need to see that. No, I don't need to see that. I don't.
I'll blow your mind, Jake.
No, I want to sleep at night. Sean says, on this sort of tip, what are the health benefits for tempeh over tofu? That's a good question.
Yeah, so tempeh, obviously, to make tofu, you just use the milk. So basically, you blitz up the beans, mush them up, mix them with water, extract that water from the bean pulp, and that's what you make tofu from the liquid.
Yeah.
And the bean pulp's a kara, it's like a waste product. Whereas tempeh, we just split the bean, remove the skin, and you make the full bean, so it's a lot meatier of a texture. Right. So tempeh is like more protein, more fibre. Obviously, where it's fermented, it's great for the gut.
Yeah.
When it's made of soy, it's a complete source of protein. And I think the only thing tofu beats tempeh on is calcium. But for us, we say like tempeh is like the most natural, nutrient-dense, healthy, plant-based protein out there. So a lot of people eat tofu, they're like, oh, I don't like the texture, it's a bit soft, there's not much to it. Yeah. Whereas tempeh is like, it's in between sort of like, if no one's tried it before, I always say it's like chicken and a mushroom in between there.
All right, I'm going to ask you, when I've had it, the actual sort of the soybeans taste really great, but there's that kind of slightly murky, camembert rindy, grey, morbidy kind of note. You know what I mean? Does yours have that, or is that just that I'm eating bad tempeh? Because genuinely, lots and lots of people have said to me, you need to try club cultured tempeh. It's completely different. They genuinely, like in this podcast, you can go back and listen. Lots of chefs recommend your stuff. So does yours have that?
I'd say no, but I'd only say it does have it is because we sell it fresh sometimes to some customers.
Yeah.
When it gets to like the last day's shelf life, because it's a live ferment.
Yeah.
It will get like sour notes and taste like super fermented sour. But that's like, you don't want to eat that. We wouldn't serve that. Right. But no, we'd say if you had it like our tempeh, you wouldn't get no bitter, strange notes from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when we first started, when we was in the airing cupboard, we thought our tempeh was amazing, and so did everyone else. And then we went out to Indonesia and learnt from the masters. And when we were out there trying their tempeh, for the second time of being out there, we were just like blown away, and we were like, can't believe we were getting away with the tempeh we were originally making.
Right.
And that was because we were adding too much starter culture originally. So once we found the right balance, so either the tempeh you're getting is put too much starter culture, or probably more likely going to be that it's pasteurized.
Yeah.
And it's probably, maybe they're not washing the beans enough and stuff like that.
Yeah, cleaner the bean, the better the tempeh. Squeaky clean, you want it.
Heinz cleans beans. Okay. Mark said, what actually is tempeh? I think we've covered that. Thanks for your question, though.
The future.
Very good. Jane says, how can I get rid of the bitterness flavour in tempeh to make it creamy? Which I guess is maybe what I was talking about.
Buy good quality tempeh.
Yeah, because we always thought when we first started making it, because in the books a lot of recipes like, steam your tempeh first. So we used to do that, and then when we went to Indonesia, it was like, do you ever steam it? Like, no way. Well, not all tempehs are created equally.
No.
But I think a lot of people do. It was like yourself, maybe you tried it and thought, actually, no, this is not for me. But when you actually have it in a different way or from somewhere else, you're like, actually, this is
also
tasty.
I think what it could be as well is that other companies add vinegar to lower the pH. So that's why we did the first soak to lower the pH naturally.
Right.
So I think that could also be a reason for why other tempehs taste bitter.
Ah, gotcha.
As well.
Yeah, they're trying to cut corners.
You see,
can't cut corners.
It's like Wendy's burgers, you can't cut corners.
You can't. It's not like you could go and get some free fridge off the internet. Come on, guys.
It was meant to be £40 as well, the fridge, but they gave it to us for free because we removed it from their house.
Top floor flat, it was.
Top floor flat,
wow.
Yeah.
All right, there's one question that we regularly ask on this podcast, and I've skirted it. Normally we do it about halfway through the podcast, but I've saved it to the end because there's something sort of quite fitting about it. The question is this. What do you do with tofu? It's just...
Put it back down and pick up tempeh.
I was going to say, do you even bother eating tofu? Is this a completely
Not after this
question?
discussion.
No, obviously. I'm never going to go back. I'm going to find some of your product. I am going to try it.
Once you go tempeh, you never go back. Like for me, I never buy tofu at home. If I probably order it at a restaurant, but it'd be never my first choice to go to. I've had some really nice tofu dishes, don't get me wrong, but I would just always.
You don't have to be diplomatic because I haven't for 35 weeks. You can go all out and tell me what you think.
The best tofu though is the arty vegans.
Arty vegan, yeah.
They do the best tofu. Make it in an artisan way, the proper way. So that
they're also in London.
Tofu.
Are they arty vegans? ARTI.
ARTY.
ARTY. Okay.
They also make vegan cheeses and stuff, but yeah, that tofu.
What are you? What about you, Connor? What do you do with tofu?
I actually do like tofu. I'm heavily tempeh based for sure. But I do eat tofu probably at least once a week. Okay. I do try and change it up a little bit. And my favourite way of doing it is I like to braise it. I love braise. I feel like I've mentioned the word braise quite a few times, but I'm a big fan of braising things. And lots of soy, mint, coriander, serve you some noodles, some garlic, some fried shallots. Beautiful.
Sounds good to me.
What is braising, Connor?
Braising is a technique where you're basically cooking in liquid. You can do it in an oven, or you can do it on the stovetop. So stovetop will be stewing, and braising is normally in the oven.
Okay, there you go.
Beautiful.
And James, do you dip a toe in tofu?
Not so much. I'm pretty heavily invested in the tempeh, to be honest, but I really liked it.
I imagine there's quite a sweet staff discount too. I mean, let's not.
Yeah. Tempeh on tap.
But no, I really liked in Indonesia, you can just get this massive basket of fried tofu. It's definitely not the healthiest way to have it, but it is just delicious.
Yeah.
But no, I love Arty Vegan's tofu. I'll eat it if it's available on the menu, but I prefer the old tempeh.
Of course you do. I mean, I kind of knew what was going to happen with that question. Well, look, you've opened my mind sufficiently that I am definitely going to try your tempeh. And I'm gonna report back. You've convinced me, and I'm gonna try it, and I'm gonna put it on Instagram. Our Instagram feed is veganlife_podcast. If you want to watch me eat it, I don't know why I want to do that.
When we used to do street food back in the day, this was like 2018, 2019, and we was mainly doing vegan markets. But even then, there was still like a lot of people didn't know what tempeh was, or like yourself didn't like it. Yeah. So we used to do a money back guarantee. So it'd be like, okay, I think it was like we was doing sandwiches at the time, but like a tempeh rib sandwich. Be like, okay, if you don't like it, we'll give you your money back. And we never had to give no money back. We just converted many people. So we love a skeptic.
Oh, awesome. Well, if you get a DM saying I want my $2.49 back, you'll know. It's been such a delight to talk to you, and genuinely thanks so much for being such good sports with my appalling, old school, old world, dinosaur, Clarkson-esque thinking.
It's been good fun, mate.
Very charming and very patient. Where can people find you, and where can they find your product?
So we are based in Northwest London. Most of what we do is everything gets updated on Instagram, and we sell directly through our website, straight to your door, next day delivery tempeh, or we do a few local pickups around London. And then we have many beautiful, lovely partners that we supply up and down the country who are doing amazing things with tempeh, and we shout about those on our Instagram. So yeah, if you're not up for cooking it straight away, I'd recommend try and go to one of our partners and trying it. Tortilla is probably the most widely available one. They use it to make it their chili no carne.
Fantastic.
It's a tempeh party.
It's a whole party, and it's happening in your mouth. Connor, James, and Harry, thank you so much. Do check out Club Cultured. That's it for this podcast. I don't mean forever. I will be back next week. It's fine. You can email your questions. It's podcast@veganlifemag.com. Veganlifemag.com is where you can buy a subscription to the magazine, or you can go and buy it in the shop, or you can download the app. Really not fussed. We'll be back next week. My name's Jake Yap. Take care of yourselves. Bye.
This has been a Swanburst Media production.